All right, good afternoon and welcome to our channel. Today, I'd like to discuss some of the many changes for 2026. But before I get started and do a few introductions, my name is Jay. I am the owner of Section8Consulting.com, and today I'd like to present news and updates. Please do note that these effective changes are some proposed, others have been moved into law, and of course, these are all being highly regulated or issued by the Trump administration or otherwise, which would be Secretary Scott Turner, just to be clear here. Um, so moving on from that, I got a few things I want to do before we actually start in this video. I've got a few free memberships if people are interested. I usually have a few left over every month. So if you would like a free membership to this channel and you find the information beneficial, please do take advantage of that. So I'm going to check right now and see if I have it to offer. Hmm. I see lots of things here, but membership gifting. And it appears I do. So it took a minute. You have to go through a lot of buttons to find these free memberships in there. So what's going to happen, guys, is I'm going to post a link in the live chat. Some of you might find that difficult to deal with if you're probably using a TV. Or sometimes I hear from clients that phones are difficult to deal with. So if you can find your live chat, look for a link. Now, this is on first come, first based service, first come, first serve. So I'll give a countdown to three, and then those who have the ability to click the quickest will win. Okay. So hopefully that helps you out, guys. So one, two, and three. And now I'm posting and it's thinking and it's thinking some more up and it's live. So those are your chances. Please note, do not message me or my office a week from now asking about that pre membership. Okay. The opportunity was a few seconds ago. If you weren't here when this video was live, then, well, you got to figure something else out. Okay. I cannot give these things out at different times. It's just when it happens. So moving on to the news, guys. Let's get into the news here for 2026. Where, thankfully we're moving into 27. That means we'll have new things to talk about, obviously. But one thing I'm finding right now is a lot of things are moving slowly because of funding, at the federal level in Section 8. So, as of August 2nd, 2026, some changes are final while others remain proposals. Participants should not assume that proposed work requirements, time limits, or other budget cuts are already in effect. Okay. So things change constantly. I would say to you, out of all presidential administrations, this one has more turbulence than most, and that's because there's been a higher number of changes, not necessarily because something's good or bad. Okay. So, first up on our list is going to be HOTMA implementation. Many of you may know what HOTMA is. Those that don't, listen along and you'll learn what's going to happen on January 1st, 2027. Housing authorities generally have until January 1st, 2027 to implement HOTMA's remaining income and deduction and asset provisions. These incomes and deductions and assets play a major factor in whether you qualify for housing, or you can keep it. Some of the hardest changes to this are going to happen and be fully implemented for, again, January 1st, 2027. I'm going to post the link to HUD notice PIH 2026-15. That way you can print it out or you can read it on your tablet and figure this out for yourself rather than question me to death. Okay. Because I get enough people, 70 people a day call my office. Number two, the new rules for interim income changes. Again, HOTMA changes when housing authorities must recalculate rent after household income increases or decreases. Local housing authorities must explain their interim reexamination policies in their administrative plans. So many of you have experienced issues and other problematic issues regarding interim reexamination policies, starting effective immediately and also January 1st, 2027. The administrative plans must fully detail that, which will give my office more opportunity to weaponize cases favorably for people, especially when your reexaminations or other issues you have, we've had a harder time with it because they never post their posted policies or procedures. So that has to be required now. Number three, asset and property restrictions are coming under the full HOTMA implementation. A household generally may be ineligible if it owns more than 100,000 in US dollars or net family assets or owns suitable real estate property that it could live in. And important exceptions may apply to people with disabilities, victims of domestic violence, manufactured homeowners, and others. So Look, guys, that can be construed many ways. I mean, 100,000 or in assets, there's depreciation and there's other calculations that need to figure there. So before you feel it's the end of the world because you hear that flat number thrown out, I would say consult with somebody to determine whether or not your used car is depreciated or otherwise you have an investment. So there's roughly 14 pages in what is considered to be income and assets. So it's important to really consider your options there. You don't necessarily have to book an appointment with my office and pay me. That's not why I'm here, guys. I just want to be clear about that. I've made videos 17 years. There's no cover charge with this. There might be a few annoying ads, right? But other than that, that's that. But if effectively you're struggling, you have tried every other result and you can't seem to fix your problem, it may be worth it. I mean, my appointments are very inexpensive, but I'm not here to argue that. So moving on from there, self-certification assets will be explained. Families may be permitted to self-certify assets when total net family assets of 50,000 or less are subject to periodic third-party verification. Let's be clear, that third party verification, quote unquote, I tell you exactly what that is. Every time you log into Google, you log into Facebook, and you got all these little cookies in your browser, that means these third party vendors that collect all your shit and have so for the last 20 years, those are the third party vendors. Okay. This is why a lot of you don't understand. You have a thought about buying something, and before you can even clear the thought out of your head, you see it pop up on your screen of your phone. That's because all these cookies. So those third party vendors that sell your data, well, that's who they're going to depend on. And so it's subject now, they're going to use third party vendors, obviously, to weaponize against you. But in terms of this is going to be self certification of assets again. So I think more what that means is, we talk about self certification, meaning are you telling the truth or not? But in terms of this, I think they're going to put some limits and caps on that. And many of you may remember pre pandemic era in terms of the things that went on and allow landlords to self-certify. They could have owned a crack house with no windows and doors, and all they had to do was certify it was safe, right? Just verbally say, "Yeah, this is all good." And so self-certification has turned out to be more self-serving, right? So they're not going for that anymore. I hate to be comical about it, but we're not going to be self-certifying jack anymore. All right, moving on from there, work requirements have been proposed. Boy, that has been an argument, and I've seen more battles and wigs get ripped off over this one, guys. Look, it's a contentious subject matter. I'm not going to argue the point with any of you guys. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. Okay. If you do got to work for a living, then you're congratulations. Welcome to America. This is what we do. Otherwise, you're going to be bored stiff and living on the sidewalk. So, work requirements, if it ever happens, right? uh, it's likely to be a potential where you can either donate your time to the local library or you can pick up a little job, rolling around an Uber. So we'll have to see more clarity on those rules. And again, time limits, they started with 2 years. And I can tell you that about burnt, that just about caused the whole frying pan to fly off the stove when people talked about 2-year time limits. So already they're already talking about language in terms of 4 years or more. So as you see time goes on, people realize just how unreasonable those original ideas may have been. And so they're starting to retrace their steps and consider maybe a little bit more latitude with people. Nobody's going to fix their housing crisis in 2 years flat, right? So, some of my arguments will be for it, some will be against it, and some will be in between, obviously. And I think in this case, we should all do what we feel is best for ourselves, okay? Because at the end of the day, you're in charge of your own ass and the outcome of how that goes, right? So don't worry about everybody else in the room. Worry about you. Work requirements have been proposed but are not final. We already know about that. And so caregivers and exemptions are going to be put up a new rule for that for the Federal Register, a proposed rule. I haven't read it, so I'm not going to speak on that, but I will put up the link yet. And just so you guys know, there's over 10,000 federal codes. So don't feel like I'm just sitting here sipping coffee and making shit up. I'm not. I'm putting this stuff out there. And if I have the energy to read the other 9,000 pages, I'll come pop on here again and do it again. So, all right, moving on from there. Number six, 2 year social limits have been proposed, but not final. Citizenship and immigration verification changes have been proposed. Well, I think they're pretty clear about that. Is anybody here struggling with clarity on immigration? You're either legally here or you're not, right? So there's no in between. The printer doesn't make a mistake when it's printing out these vouchers. It doesn't think to itself, but there's an exception. You're either legally here or not. I don't believe we need to talk on that any further, right? I think we're all clear about it. So, housing authorities. Number eight, housing authorities can use stronger cost saving measures. Yeah, that's right. They can keep the air conditioner running while the light bulbs are off, right? Let's hope not. So, looking at this, citizenship and immigration verification changes have been proposed. HUD proposed requiring verification of citizenship and eligible immigration status for assisted household members. In other words, if you or somebody in that family's got a voucher, they're going to verify whether you belong in the U.S. or not. You have a legal right to be here. And next up is going to be, of course, the big one, which was mixed status families, where you have legal and illegal residing under one roof. And some feel that mixed use of a voucher makes it rather contentious. So we may find that in the very near future that they're not going to permit any form of that. And as far as I know, to date, as of right now, they don't allow mixed use. If there's any status indicating that you may not be in the U.S. legally, then they're not going to rewrite those rules to be more favorable. I think that's common sense, right? Next up, housing authorities can use stronger cost saving measures. So we kind of discussed that. I'm also going to publish HUD's 2026 HCB funding notice. Okay. So while I take this commentary in a joking way, I'm going to give you that notice as an official way for you to see what your U.S. government has determined in funding and as far as the notice itself. I think that's best read. You digest that information, determine what you believe, okay? But at the end of the day, the government wrote it. 2026 voucher funding is being recalculated. So, we have these ups and downs. Some people feel that we have funding cuts, we have funding gains, and it changes all the time, right? So the story's always mixed. I get accused of changing the story narrative day to day, but that's not my choice. You talk to your local Congress, talk to the House. Why are they making these decisions? On top of those decisions, you have a president that can also write and approve his own executive orders and put those in federal law. Therefore, here we are. So moving on from there, HUD's re-benchmarking each housing authority's 2026 renewal funding using its valid and notice quote unquote validated 2025 leasing and voucher cost data. So here's where we end up in a contentious area. What the government and the president are almost insinuating, what I believe they're insinuating here is they believe that the information up to 2025 is fairly accurate, and they're not going to want to increase any further budget, right? And so they're going to use last year's data to run this year. I don't know how else to put that simpler. We're going to use the prior year to kind of determine funding for this year. Of course, there's a longer example of what they're talking about. You're welcome to deep dive that rabbit hole if you wish, but I'm not. So the recalculations and funding will be based on prior year, which is interesting because that's going to be a cost savings, obviously, but for some, it's not going to feel very right because it'll be less money. Moving on from there, we've got emergency housing voucher. I'm so sick of those words. I wish I could banish them from federal law. I just want to be very clear, guys, about emergency housing vouchers. It died with the opera singer. If there is a few of those relics still floating around in the river, okay, if there's somehow an emergency voucher still in a museum case at how many years has it been since the pandemic, and we're still talking about something that virtually has no money? I mean, it's a relic. There will be no more emergency funding, vouchers, any of it. That was all pandemic era stuff. The fact that that stuff, we have spread that thinner than mayonnaise at this point. We've made vouchers last what almost a decade. They shouldn't even last 3 years. All right. So please don't, unless you want me to have a psychiatric breakdown in a video, please don't ask about no fucking voucher that's emergency. If you need an emergency voucher, there are other options out there, but the emergency housing voucher, cachet, federal funds, and all have been spent. They're not going to light up the government printer to print those again unless Jesus walks on this earth again or Allah. Okay. They're not going to repeat that. Second to that, guys, just a quick spanking. Don't start your shit about hotel vouchers. I don't want to hear about those. That was pandemic era. We're not putting gasoline in the printer to light that shit up again. So if they offer a voucher at a hotel, it will be supported by nonprofits, not HUD, not any federal agency. I hate to be rough about this, but honestly, guys, we're still trying to sit in the same bar stool, sing the same song about shit that doesn't even have funding anymore, as if it's going to keep going. And, so I've been guilty myself. I've made further videos about it, but I've stopped because I'm just tired of hearing it. It's not a solution anymore. What is a solution is the housing choice voucher, but that word emergency kind of it makes me bitter hearing it at this point. We shouldn't be talking about this. It's over with for that, really. Uh, Next up, let's see what else we've got. And again, I went on that tirade there, but obviously this is they're closing that out. I don't know. I would love to know the numbers at this point. We've got to only have two or three dangling and left, kind of wet ones in the street, right? There couldn't possibly, after a decade, be any more of these damn vouchers for emergency housing, just like hotel vouchers. Moving on down the list, let's see what else we got. Inspire, Inspire voucher inspections going to be delayed till 2027. Well, that's thrilling news. That means that for those of you that were sweating that out as far as housing quality inspections under the Inspire system, well, you get a stay of execution, really. I don't mean that literally, but I'm going to put up some information about that, and that includes the emphasis on health, safety, electrical fires, moisture, and habitability standards. We really should update these things more often than every quarter to half century. We might quite possibly be playing by inspection rules that rivaled even the ones they did in the 70s. Maybe we should rethink the antiquated system. So I think that Inspire policies and rules will have a full rollout. In other words, it's fixing to get its big quarter century change, and that's a good thing for everybody. There's no more renting crack houses without doors. There'll still be rough buildings, but at least they'll have qualified doors and windows, right? And I mean that in a joking way because I know that some landlords really are ridiculous, but some are also very good. So let me support both sides of the party here. Number 12, 30-day non-payment for eviction protection remains in place. Let's be clear, guys. Pandemic evictions and all that. A lot of folks did the landlords wrong. Okay, everybody was having tough times, but you needed a house. The landlords needed to be able to pay their mortgage, and a lot of that didn't happen. So they're removing that. And the fact that this lasted this long caused a really nasty taste in a lot of landlords' mouths because nobody wants to hear we've got to continue to run a free hotel, right? And then people purposely not paying rent. So that was one angle. The other is obviously we didn't want a tidal wave of homeless people. So that point can be argued both ways. But these bans that prevent landlords from filing evictions or being completely removed in the game was over. Okay, that party lasted too long. People hung over from that party. It lasted so long. So let me tell you, the 30-day non-payment. Look, these non-payment notices they're giving these days if the landlords could do it and give you a 30-minute notice to vacate, they would. Okay. So do not challenge your landlord. I think at this point they can pretty much do a 3-day notice to vacate. Okay. And many more got roasted like a turkey during the pandemic, keeping people in apartments, didn't pay a wooden nickel for 3-4 years. Well, let me tell you, if they had the ability to give a 3-minute notice to vacate, they surely would. Okay, some even and I heard in some certain cases they said if they were going to lose their building, they'd rather burn it down with the people in it. If they're not going to burn, obviously benefit from that. I think that's a terrible idea, but there were some landlords that went under over this deal. So thank you for those of you out here that use your Section 8 housing and voucher responsibly and paid your rent through the pandemic. And shame on you out there that had the money but didn't, decided you wanted to go out and take that stimulus check and go pop some fucking fireworks, instead of pay the landlord. And so those are the people that created a big problem for us nationwide. I hope that over time that repairs itself between tenants and landlords because I hate for that to be the one reason that we arrive in a more difficult future in contentious relationships between landlords and so on. And I think that has smoothed some. All right, moving on. Number 13, FY 2027 HUD budget proposed major voucher restrictions. More restrictions. Okay. If we could put barbed wire around the old voucher, my God, we'd do it. So, the administration proposal would prevent most housing authorities from issuing new vouchers in 2027. I told you so. I don't even own a crystal broom. I don't own a crystal ball and I don't ride a broom. And I warned y'all all year this would happen. Warned you. So we're in maintenance mode. It means they don't want nothing new for next year. They're willing to kick in just enough copper pennies to keep you on the vouchers, those that have got, but they ain't doing jack shit for 2027. Okay. If you get one, it'll be a miracle. Okay. You'll have to call the Pope and tell him about your miracle because it's going to be another tough one. Okay, guys, we've only got a couple more years to go before chaos is over. But if you can't end Section 8 altogether, then you just put it in maintenance mode. That's another way of stopping Section 8. So unfortunately, there will be some reprieve temporarily. And I'm sure this will be the second most sued issue in America starting in 2027 because nobody wants to hear, we're paying into the system and then all of a sudden there's nothing but nobody else for the future. That's going to create a backup problem. And if you don't do anything in 2027 with vouchers, you do realize that the list of people are going to grow. We'll go from 5, 8, 10, and 15-year waits to 35, 45, and 95-year waits. The longer this goes on, where the government's only going to pay for vouchers currently that have been issued and nothing more going in the future. And when they eventually there's a different presidency possibly, and they decide to reopen this, wait times will be your entire lifetime. Okay, you start your mom as soon as you get out of the hospital, you've got to drive the baby to the housing authority, and when you're 89 years old, they will ring your flip phone. If you don't catch it on the second ring, then you may not get the voucher. They may Unfortunately, you didn't comply with the rules and answer the phone. Therefore, while you were in the shower or on the toilet, you're done. Your duck got cooked. But you can request an informal hearing and have them reverse course on that, and then you'll be put back on the list for another 89 years. So the point I'm making here in this extreme example is intended to be kind of funny. Well, it's really not. Is that for now, they're not wanting to do that. But that's yet to be seen because, again, everybody that works in the US government has low income people in their family. That's part of the reason why I know this is going to get sued for because we simply cannot build up more evictions. And speaking on the last topic in this channel for this video, and I see you guys carrying on in here. I hope y'all not being naughty in that live chat. I don't want to have to put people out. Please don't go say some crazy shit in my live chat because I will rewind this like toilet paper and I will put people out. You'll never be able to comment in a channel or video again. I swear to God. I hope we're being well behaved. Put on your Sunday best, right? So, evictions are at a premium right now. I mentioned last week that just in our own city, they had filed more than 75,000 evictions. And those numbers are greatly increasing nationwide. And while I thought this big tidal wave would have been during a pandemic, we're now seeing the largest portion of it. And it's a mixed combination. It isn't about pandemics anymore. It's about high cost of living, unaffordability, uh, people, high rents, high everything. Everything's sky high. People buying toilet paper no longer even has a name anymore. I mean, shit's real rough right now. I went to the gas station the other day. That gas, I mean, it hit $10 before I squeezed it and 10 was gone. I thought I'd been robbed at the gas station. Somebody jacked the pump from me. I was scared to let it. I didn't put it on auto. I no longer put gasoline and feed the car on auto. I'm going to examine each moment of pumping to ensure that before I get my $200 bill, and trust me, I don't hit the gas anymore. I'm driving like an 80-year-old Asian woman around town. I ain't got time for this shit. You hit that gas too hard, $9 is gone. So you're out there, you might have to sell oranges on the fucking freeway for your next tank of gas. So things are real right now, and because of that, I got to tell you guys, we're facing a very, very tough situation in the nation. The city of Houston is doing 75,000 filings every month, and I can tell you nationwide, we're running millions and millions of eviction filings. And with the lower notice to vacate rates, because they removed that, that means we're looking for. This is going to create. Well, this is creating a contentious problem in homelessness where people losing everything because they can't they stop paying credit cards, they can't pay for their housing, the job. Even if you were paid $28 an hour, it ain't enough money to keep up with things, right? So even I felt the pain. I used to buy name brand things. I don't no more because I'm in saver mode. It means I'm like my grandmother was from the Great Depression era. um, when you see shit start to get tough, I immediately shut everything down, everything that's extra, and we go on life saving mode. That's to prevent bankruptcy, right? Because you don't know how long this is going to last. And it's lasted a while. So I'm going in my own maintenance mode where I don't spend anything. It's look, I budget for the Netflix because I need to make sure I can survive a long, shitty couple of years of high inflation. You don't want to spend more during these times. I encourage all of you to rethink your budget for Christmas. Maybe it'd be best just to have a little small dinner and to just trade dollar gifts because you don't know. You don't leverage yourself with credit cards right now. I'm serious. If I'm thinking about this, we all need to be thinking about this. It's time to get away from all the spending. We're in rough times, and if you're going to survive these rough times, you've got to stop spending and got to pay down debt. I'm just warning you guys because if you don't, then you'll have to call my office, and you're not going to like my response. And to date, over 20,000 people have contacted my office and booked appointments because they made poor choices, or they didn't make poor choices. They didn't have a lot to start with, and then what ends up happening is they're 30 days from being leaving the home they've known all their life to live in a homeless shelter. I don't want that for anybody here, whether you're Republican, Democratic, Independent, Christian, or serving the devil himself. I don't care. The goal here as humans is to ensure that we can all survive, to see another day. And that's my hope here because things are real right now. They're more real. And most of you that are in my channel, happy you are seniors. You guys have survived many generations. You've seen tough. You can testify at this point that you may be living through some of the most difficult times in U.S. history. I can't think of any other time. I've been through even in the '80s when we had a depression, not a depression, recession. That didn't don't even light a fucking match to what's going on right now. So I don't know how we're not in uh, a recession, but I can tell you that little baby recession in the '80s ain't shit going compared to what we got right now. Anybody survives this, you really are a warrior. You're just short of serving in the military. But that's my opinion. And you certainly don't have to share that, guys. But these are the things I wanted to bring to you guys. It's kind of a recap over a week and discussion of all the things. I'm going to publish a short report in the comments section so you can rewind this if I talk too quickly. Or and what it'll do is I will give you the titles and brief descriptions to everything I've talked about. That way you can recap it. If you're here to steal my content, my pleasure, go ahead. By stealing my channel's information and videos and everything else, then that means that you'll get the message out. That supports what I like as well. Though I wish you'd ask first. I know some people steal my content. I've been here a long time. Anyways, let's move on back in the comments. Say some highs and hellos. Well, I was in a real mood today. Sarah Wells, good morning. Jay, Elma Moore, good morning. Jacqueline, good morning. Platinum, I need one badly. Oh, of course. And I'm so glad everybody got their free memberships. Those 5 that got it. We'll try again in a couple of days and give out some more. Rosemary, hello, Mr. J. Good afternoon. It is, isn't it? Brandy, hit the like button. Yes, always hit the like button. One thing I've been very good about in my channel over the last 15 to 18 years, I never there's a lot of creators when you get in their YouTube videos, they want you to mash every fucking button. Please like, subscribe, mash 15 fucking buttons. And for what reason? Do you get anything out of the deal when you do all that stuff? Probably not. So I never bother with it. But if you decide to, please do. If you have something to say, comment. But I've never been one to push that stuff. But I'm there. I clicked allow free membership. I'm glad to hear it. Sheila Stove, thank you, Jay. You're most welcome. Tamika, good morning, Jay. I love your name. Reminds me of a girl when I was in grade school. I had a hots for her, but that was a long time ago. Melissa, my screen is black. Well, that's okay. Just get you some batteries. Oh, it's on your phone. Well, maybe you need to recharge it. Sheila, I guess I did it wrong. But you may have, but you'll get another shot. For those of you, for the you older ladies and men out there that you're still on the old flip phone and you couldn't mash that membership button quick enough. Don't worry, I'll give you guys a chance. I'll do it on one of my slower days when there's so many people here. I'll give you ladies and gents that are over 70 a fair shake at this. Sundays are hard to grab these because we got everybody here, and the young ones are on their i95s, right? They got the iPhone 95s that are, running a whole quantum computer in there. So you probably didn't have a fair chance today. So you come on down and see me again, maybe on a Tuesday or Wednesday in the mornings when all these young folks are still haven't rolled off the mattress. You'll get your shot at that free membership. Trust me. Every time I hear a word cut, when I hear the word cut, I get nervous. I don't get nervous. I use the word a lot. It's an interesting thing. But I mean, cuts. Think about it is we just live in an information society these days. Cuts have always been there. We just get the message out quicker now. Let me tell you something. The government's never going to hold a press conference about how they're going to give away money. Okay, well they did for a while um, during the Obama administration, obviously, but you're not going to get press releases about the giving away of money and. There's more money coming. It's usually when the government has anything sticky to say, it's going to have the word "cut" in front of it. In fact, I think that's the most used word in government filings and forms is how do we cut everything, right? I think they should give out kitchen knives as Christmas gifts for Congress. They like to cut so much shit and give them some knives. Susan Wells, thank you very much, Jay. I appreciate it. Rosemary, Jay, my rent up went up $100. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Um, that's a lot of money. Maybe you should talk with the landlord, maybe negotiate or see if he gets a little side job you may be able to pick up to help you pick up an extra 100, help you out a little bit. That's about 25 a week. I know I'm doing extra things even myself just to stay ahead of a very difficult time. Moving on from there, Muskogee Land watching from the beginning. Well, if you're watching from the beginning, this is going to be like a Netflix documentary. I could talk forever, right? So be careful unless you're just entertained by my voice and big head. Robert, I abandoned my Facebook page 4 years ago. Well, okay. I'm not quite sure how that plays into what we're talking about today, but oh, I see what you're saying. You were saying that in respect to data verification and being your data being sold. I get it. Gloria Evans, I like to have free members. Well, I think you'd like a free membership, but if you want free members, there's still some available in the live chat. Just talk to them; they'll talk back. Oh, multi-platinum. What if your housing provider and other partners are committing real estate fraud? I need to know a lot more than that, man. That sounds like a really good topic with a cocktail at a bar, but without knowing a hell of a lot more, I couldn't tell you. So there's a lot of potential with that story. Uh, Aaron K, hi, I'm sorry I'm late. You're never late to my videos, brother, because they go on for a minute. This one's going a little longer this Sunday because I have a lot to say, I guess. Sheila Stover, as a Section 8 participant, well, thank you for identifying yourself as a participant. I feel like you're joining the Wheel of Fortune here. Is there a max value we can have on life insurance policy without disqualifying for Section 8? That's an interesting question. Why don't you email my office? You can find my email in the description. Just email that question. I'll look into it for you. But do not try to sneak in a bunch of casework for me to fix your whole life because I'm not going to do it. I'll answer a few basic questions like I do for everybody. But if you guys sneak in there and then write me a demand list of 95 ways I can fix your life and housing, I'm not going to do that. Me and my crooked glasses. All right, moving on. Carolyn Mix Blankton. Yep, they do that. 3 Day did it and been crawfished when they found their mistake in the booking double billing. I'm not quite sure what you're asserting here. Um, I do understand you're probably from the South because you said the word crawfish, possibly even Louisiana. But double billing and double booking, who and how is that being referred to? London Lane, lead paint concerns. You got lead paint concern. That's easy to address because if it's proven as a fact, then somebody's going to be in serious trouble. Okay, the government takes a very serious stance on that, and there are federal policies to address lead paint. So that's something easy to kind of address. Bethany Nels, what about seniors that need it? Nothing's changed. They're still offering it, but 2027 they're not wanting to offer it as much. So that's what they're saying now. Who's to stop anybody in the House, Congress, or even the president from changing their mind 85 times to Christmas? This is what they're saying right now. It changes every day and every week. I'm just reporting as it goes. They've stuck with this narrative up to this point. Let's see if it lasts another month, right? So, but what about seniors? It's the same every year. If they have it, they'll help. If they ain't got it, they won't. There's a chance next year, looking at the way funding is going, that they're not going to want to serve as many people. Okay. It doesn't mean that I'm asserting that every housing authority is going to cut off its light bulbs, lock its door, and never give out a voucher. What I'm asserting is with less money comes less voucher. And so, therefore, housing authorities have no other choice than to use whatever funds they have to keep those that already have vouchers with a voucher and to possibly not offer that many new vouchers. That's how all this is playing out. It's one effect affecting another. Heather Bright. Hey Jay, how are the cats doing? Well, to be honest with you, they're doing all right. It's been an unusual summer. You know, most days are around 115. So the cats are struggling. They're getting thin. They're not eating as much. They seem rather disappointed when they deal with me. We cut back on cat treats because, you know, everything's expensive, right? And difficult time. So I'm looking forward to the winter because that's when they come back in the house. They'll be back on the chair and I'll end the blinds and everything. So, but the cats are doing well. Um, they got through the last problem we had where they were sickened by some cat food, and three of the four managed to live through it. One passed away, Grandma Gracie. She was 26. She passed. Um, Lakeisha, good morning. Jay and Kiki's. Well, thank you very much. Just by the way, when I say Kiki, I mean boys, and when I say Chi Chi's, I mean girls, and those are cats. Okay, Kikis and Chi Chi's. If y'all want to talk my special language, that's what I'll call them. Why do I do that? Because at one point I had 30 cats, and when it was feeding time, I needed a quick efficient name for both parties. So I would call out for the Kikis and the Chi Chi's. Why? Because the men and women don't eat together very well. So that's why I did that. So I don't have 30 cats anymore. I just have four. Moving on from there, Linda Ball. Hey, Jay and Kiki's or kitties. Thank you very much. Dane, thank you. You're most welcome. Nerdy Mermaid. Lovely name. I like that. Thank you for OG of that name. Definitely like that. Imminent possibilities. Thank you for the last. Good Lord. Y'all have a lot to say today, don't you? Man, y'all are really going to town on me in this chat. I didn't realize there was this many comments. Oh, man. I'm just trying to find the end of it. Let me take impossibility. I'm catching up here, guys. Give me a second. Uh, okay, I did find an end. Okay, so we're getting near the end. Thank you for keeping us informed on what's going on in Section 8. Voice for animals. So those who won the lottery last September will still get Section 8. Whoever has now will keep, and whoever ain't got after the new federal budget there may be some problems next year. We'll know more as we get closer. What I'm saying now is only what the government has instructed, and I'm going to put those instructions in the comment section as soon as the live bit is over. Thank you for letting me know about the microphone. See, I did that again, didn't I? I get dementia occasionally, and the microphone gets cut off. So. All right, so move back. So Desiree goes on to say, "I'm the director of a housing authority in Atlanta. Do you think they'll change HCB programs to MTW or move to work?" Yes, I do believe so. I've talked with both the sons over at Nana McKay that handle underwriting and policy and procedure, and I also talked with two contacts I have over at HUD have for about 10 years that weren't fired. And I know this is definitely under review, and there will be changes for 2027. There's already MTW changes in the works. I believe that's under review. So yes, Platinum received HAP contract. All tenants had health and safety issues, require code enforcement violations, inhabitable conditions. Understood. Okay. Allison, I live in Northampton, Mass, and they have already started. Okay. No sound, no sound, no sound. Well, we fixed the sound. And next up, you hit your mute button. Okay, I fixed it. Hello. Okay, all is well. You're muted. All right, guys. I think we've covered everything. I appreciate every single soul that showed up today to help us. I do these updates every Sunday, and I always now here in the future, I always publish the notes for everybody. That way, you're able to see through HUD.gov, through Congress, through the House, the White House, and so we try to base everything factually based on it. So the point can never be argued with me. If you have an issue with anything that's said in the video, all you have to do is look at what your U.S. government has written, what they're suggesting, and then you can determine what there would be appropriate for you and whether you believe it's real or disingenuous. But, I'm just sharing that news with you. Again, my name is Jay. I am the owner of Section8Consulting.com, and I've worked at the federal level for nearly 26 years. I don't do that really anymore, but I do offer consults. They're very short and very inexpensive, to be honest with you. And I've worked with over 20,000 clients in my life. I would say that 99.982% of them have been happy. There's been a few flaky ones, but um, I don't base my career and lifetime's work based on stars, do I? I base it on real life value, helping people, preventing homelessness, getting people out the woods, off the sidewalk, out of shelters, helping seniors, veterans, disabled as best I can. I create highly detailed and accurate reports, and I've been able to instruct people how to get out of rather devastating situations with uncanny ability. To be honest with you, I'm vintage like wine, which means I've tried every theory. And in my early career, there were many test dummies. Unfortunately, we tested theories to try to find ways to get people out of horrible situations. It's much more refined these days. So I'm very certain in my abilities, but I'm limited in what I can do due to health issues sometimes. But we're pumping out a lot of videos every week. So if you want to join us on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, I do live videos. You ask anything you want as long as it's appropriate. The rest of the videos are EDU or educational videos, and they're always supported with a high level of notation. And I also support that with acclamations at the bottom, so you can actually source any information that I talk about. Nothing in this channel is tips, tricks, and foolishness. Okay, those people that make those videos are entertaining. I'm not here to entertain. Okay, I know Title 24 code federal, so code federal procedure, and so when you look at this, we have to kind of dissect that and determine how that might fit into future housing. And we are in a time where a big portion of the system is changing. And so I'm trying to teach you guys how to deal with adversity, solve your problems, and then be go on with your life. All right, guys, I've enjoyed talking with you and enjoy your week. We'll see you again. Bye for now.